And let me be real with you today. Nobody cares. And that's not a bad thing. It's a gift. Nobody is losing sleep over your dreams. Nobody is sitting around wondering when you're finally going to step into your greatness. You know why? Because they've got their own lives, their own struggles, their own mess to deal with. And you sitting there waiting for someone to validate you, to notice you, to feel sorry for you, that's wasted time. Time you could be investing in becoming undeniable. Life doesn't hand out trophies for trying. It rewards results. And results only come when you stop looking around and start looking within. You keep waiting for support when the truth is, support shows up after you show out. The world doesn't move for the people who complain, it moves for the people who commit. So you had a hard childhood, so the odds are stacked against you. So what? You're not the only one. That's not a reason to quit. That's the reason to go harder. Every person who's built something great started with obstacles. The difference is they didn't make excuses, they made adjustments. They didn't cry about what wasn't fair. They used what they had and they worked it until it multiplied. You've got to stop waiting for permission to be great. Stop checking to see who's clapping. Nobody cares if you wake up at 5 a.m. Nobody cares if you're grinding after your 9 to 5. But one day when the fruit shows up, they'll pretend they believed in you the whole time. Let them. Let your work speak louder than your words ever could. Let your success be your proof. You want something different, you have to become someone different. Your next level isn't waiting for a perfect moment. It's waiting for a better version of you. A more focused, more faithful, more disciplined version. One who doesn't chase trends, doesn't waste time comparing, doesn't live for likes or applause, just one who locks in on the mission and refuses to be moved. Discipline is doing what's required even when it's uncomfortable. Excellence is doing it when nobody's watching, and elevation comes when you stop asking why me and start declaring why not me. You have the authority, you have the gift. But gifts don't grow without pressure. Diamonds form in the fire, steel gets stronger through the strike, and leaders rise through resistance. Don't get distracted by who's ahead of you. Run your race. Nobody can beat you at being you. Nobody can do your assignment better than you. So instead of watching everybody else's life, get obsessed with your own. Study your craft. Build your value. Speak to your future. You're not here to survive. You're here to dominate. And when it gets lonely, remember, it's supposed to. Destiny demands isolation before elevation. You can't take everybody with you. Some people can't handle your growth. That's okay. Focus anyway. Build anyway. Believe anyway. Because in the end, it doesn't matter who doubted you. It matters who you became while they weren't looking. Nobody cares. Work hard. Focus on you. Too many people are stuck because they're waiting for others to understand them, waiting for someone to get their vision, feel their pain, or validate their path. But here's the truth. Nobody owes you that. Not your friends, not your family, not the people on social media. Nobody is required to understand why you're doing what you're doing. And if you make understanding a requirement for movement, you'll never move. You've got to stop expecting people to see your vision when it was given to you, not them. They weren't in the room when God gave you that idea. They didn't feel the burden in your heart. They don't see the fire that wakes you up in the morning or keeps you up at night. And that's okay. Stop trying to explain purpose to people who are committed to comfort. It's not your job to get them to understand. It's your job to build what they'll understand after you've done the work. Clarity doesn't come from conversation. It comes from commitment. You don't need another pep talk. You need momentum. You need movement. Because when you start taking action, even small, quiet, uncelebrated steps, things start getting clear. Confidence grows. Resources appear. People start to take notice. But it never happens while you're waiting for the world to give you permission. Action brings alignment. Action reveals what works and what doesn't. Action builds belief. But sitting in indecision, worrying about who approves, or wondering if you'll look foolish, that keeps you stuck. That keeps you broke. That keeps you in cycles you were born to break out of. So stop explaining, start executing. Let your results make the introduction. Let your fruit do the talking. When you show people what you built, when you live in the overflow of your purpose, they won't need a breakdown of your why, they'll feel it. But none of that happens if you don't move. The world doesn't respect potential, it respects proof. So forget who gets it and focus on getting it done. Nobody owes you understanding, but you owe it to yourself to walk in clarity. And clarity lives on the other side of action. You can't win while playing the victim, period. Victimhood is a mental prison that keeps you locked out of your own potential. And the most dangerous part, it feels justified. It feels comfortable. It feels like protection. But in reality, it's poison. As long as you keep blaming what happened, who hurt you, what you didn't get, or how unfair life has been, you hand your power over to the very things you say you want freedom from. Listen, life is going to hit you. It's going to be unfair. People will betray you. Some doors will close that you didn't deserve to have shut. You might have been born into a situation where the odds were stacked against you. That's real. But here's what's just as real. As long as you keep pointing outward, you stay powerless. You can't change what you won't claim responsibility for. Responsibility doesn't mean everything was your fault. It means everything is your move. It means you choose to own your response, your attitude, your effort, your next step. That's where your power is. Not in being right about the pain, but in being committed to the progress. Because nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to care about your story more than you do. If you don't shift from victim to victor, you'll keep reliving the same cycle in different forms. You weren't created to be pitied. You were created to produce, to lead, to multiply. And the longer you stay in the identity of someone who's owed something, the more you block yourself from what you were meant to earn through discipline, through vision, through obedience. The people you admire didn't get there by blaming their way to the top. They took what they had and turned it into more. That's power. That's ownership. So decide today, no more excuses, no more blaming your past, your boss, your ex, your lack of money, your lack of time. Own your situation and then outwork it, outgrow it, outlast it. You were never meant to stay where life dropped you. You were built to rise. But rising starts when you stop asking, why me, and start declaring, watch me. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's a gift. It means your life is in your hands. It means the enemy doesn't get the final say. It means you're not at the mercy of circumstance. You are the architect of what happens next. Victimhood will keep you safe, but it will never let you soar. Choose power, choose responsibility, choose results. Because the moment you take full responsibility is the same moment you become unstoppable. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants the dream. But the truth is, most people aren't willing to pay the price. They want elevation without exertion. They want results without resistance. But there is no shortcut. There is no hack that replaces the grind. Hard work isn't optional. It's the entry fee. It's the bare minimum. It's the starting point. You don't get access to greatness unless you're willing to outwork average. This culture has glamorized comfort. It celebrates the idea of balance before there's even been sacrifice. People want passive income without ever having earned active discipline. They want 6 figures on a 2-figure work ethic. But life doesn't work like that. You're not entitled to outcomes you haven't earned. The market doesn't pay for effort. It pays for value. And value is built in the hours nobody sees, in the moments you feel like quitting but don't, in the days when you work through the silence, the doubt, the fatigue. Hard work is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It's what proves whether you're serious or just interested. Because when you're really about it, you don't wait until you feel motivated. You show up regardless. You do the work when it's boring. You do the work when it's hard. You do the work when it feels like nothing's changing. Because you understand that something is changing. You're becoming the person who can handle what you're asking for. You're developing the habits, the mindset, the skills, the character. And that development doesn't happen on the mountaintop, it happens in the trenches. It happens when you decide that doing the work isn't optional, it's who you are now. Hard work isn't just about grinding for the sake of grinding, it's about honoring the vision. It's about knowing that if you want to reap a harvest, you have to sow the seed and plow the ground. You can pray all you want, but faith without works is dead. The breakthrough doesn't come to the busy, it comes to the faithful, the consistent, the disciplined, the one who's willing to show up again and again, even when it doesn't make sense yet. You're not behind. You're just being tested. You're being asked, are you really ready? Because the reward always matches the responsibility. And if you can't carry the weight now, you won't be able to hold the crown later. This isn't about grinding forever. This is about building something that lasts. And the foundation is always built through hard, often thankless, invisible work. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, but it's necessary. You can't outsource this. You can't delegate your destiny. So stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop looking for easy. Stop expecting success to knock on your door without sweat on your brow. If you're serious, then prove it with your habits, with your hustle, with your hunger. Because hard work doesn't guarantee success, but without it, success is guaranteed to never show up. You want in? Pay the price. Roll up your sleeves. Hard work is the entry fee. The fastest way to lose your purpose is to start watching the crowd. The moment you start obsessing over what everyone else is doing, you disconnect from what you were called to do. And here's the truth. You will never fulfill your assignment trying to copy someone else's. You weren't created to fit in, you were created to stand out. But you can't stand out if your eyes are always on what they're doing, what they're achieving, who's ahead of you or who's clapping for them. You have to stop scrolling through other people's lives and start building your own. You have to stop measuring your worth based on someone else's highlight reel. Just because they got there first doesn't mean you're behind. Just because their path looks smoother doesn't mean yours is wrong. You're not late, you're in training, and the delay is only a problem if you let distraction replace discipline. You can't grow when your focus is fractured. Every time you look sideways, you slow down. Every time you try to adjust your journey to match someone else's pace, you detour from the route you were divinely assigned to walk. Your calling is custom. Your process is personal. And comparison is the thief not just of joy, but of destiny. When you focus on you, everything changes. Your energy changes. Your mindset shifts. You stop performing and start producing. You stop trying to prove something and start becoming something. You begin to realize that the real flex isn't being seen, it's being built. The real power isn't in applause, it's in alignment. This isn't about being selfish, it's about being responsible. You have a gift, a vision, a lane. And if you don't protect it, the crowd will pull you away from it. They'll distract you with trends, with opinions, with validation. But validation is a drug, and the more you need it, the less you'll trust your own voice. But you don't need a fan base, you need focus. You don't need attention, you need intention. This season isn't about broadcasting, it's about building. You don't need everyone to understand it, you just need to finish it. You need to dig deep into your calling and get so locked in that even if nobody's watching, you're still winning. Because the truth is, the most important work is usually done in silence. The best breakthroughs happen in private. And the greatest reward isn't found in the spotlight, it's found in becoming who you were always meant to be. So stop running their race. Stop competing with people who aren't even in your category. Stop letting someone else's lane distract you from mastering yours. Focus on you. Not the noise, not the crowd, just the mission. Because when you really lock in, you don't just change your life, you change the atmosphere around you. You can have all the talent, all the ambition, and all the plans in the world. But without faith and focus, you'll never see the fruit. Faith and focus are the two most powerful forces you can carry on the journey to your next level. One without the other is incomplete. Faith gives you the vision, the belief, the internal conviction. Focus gives you the discipline, the clarity, the execution, and when you put them together, you produce fruit, results, impact, overflow. Faith isn't just believing that something good will happen, it's believing that what you're building has already been promised, that it's already finished in the spiritual realm. You're just walking it out in the natural. Faith is what makes you keep showing up when nothing is working yet, when the numbers aren't there, when nobody's listening, when the doors are still shut. Faith is what keeps your head up when the results are silent, but your spirit is loud. But faith without focus is scattered energy. It's easy to say you believe, but then get pulled in every direction, chasing every idea, starting 100 things and finishing none. Focus is what proves your faith. Focus says, I believe in this so deeply that I refuse to be distracted. I'm not quitting, I'm not detouring, I'm not chasing shiny objects. Focus keeps you locked in when everything in you wants to give up. Focus silences the noise. It protects your vision. You need both, because faith without focus makes you inconsistent, and focus without faith makes you anxious. But when you combine the two, now you're dangerous. Now you're walking with clarity and conviction. Now you're working like it depends on you, but believing like it depends on God. That's where miracles happen. That's where the fruit shows up. Fruit isn't just about material results. It's about internal growth. It's the peace that comes from alignment, the confidence that comes from consistency, the strength that comes from staying planted even when it's dry. You don't always see fruit immediately, but that doesn't mean it's not coming. Because if the root is right, the fruit is guaranteed. You just have to keep watering, keep working, keep trusting. This is why distractions are so dangerous. The enemy doesn't have to destroy you, he just has to distract you. If he can pull your eyes off the promise, he can delay your harvest. That's why you've got to protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your results grow. Don't let what you see make you forget what you heard. If God gave you the vision, he will provide the provision. But you have to believe and build. You have to trust and take action. You have to dream and do. This isn't about hype, it's about harvest. And harvest only comes when faith and focus work together. So believe big, lock in, stay planted. Don't panic during the process, because the fruit is on the way, and it won't just bless you. It'll bless everyone connected to you. At the end of the day, the world doesn't respond to noise, it responds to results. You can complain about how hard it is. You can vent about who didn't help, who didn't show up, and what didn't go your way, but none of that moves the needle. None of that changes your life. Complaints might get you sympathy, but they'll never get you success. Results, though, results get respect. Results get attention. Results create options, because results are undeniable. You don't need people to feel sorry for you. You need to build something that makes them watch, something that makes them wonder. And that doesn't come from talking. That comes from executing, from becoming so committed to your outcome that complaining becomes irrelevant. It's not that the struggle disappears, it's that your mission gets louder than your frustration. And you're focused on what's wrong, or you can focus on getting better. But you can't do both. You can either stay in the cycle of blaming everything around you, or you can become the person who breaks the cycle for good. Complaining is easy. Blaming is comfortable. But neither one builds anything. If you're serious about changing your life, then your energy has to be invested in producing, not just processing. This is where most people fall off. They confuse movement with progress. They think venting is a strategy. They think emotion is execution. But emotion without action is just noise. If it's really that deep to you, if it really matters, then show it through your discipline, show it through your consistency, show it by doing the work when it's not fun, when it's not easy, when nobody's congratulating you for it. The scoreboard doesn't care about your excuses. The market doesn't care about your feelings. And success doesn't care about how tired you are. It rewards the people who pushed through anyway. If you want your life to be different, then your results have to be louder than your reasons. You'll never get to the next level explaining why you're not there yet. That's not the language of leaders. That's not the posture of greatness. When the results show up, you won't have to explain anything. Your bank account, your business, your body of work, it will all speak for itself. That's why the most powerful thing you can do is shut out the distractions, silence the complaints, and produce. Let them doubt you, let them talk, let them underestimate you. Just make sure that while they're running their mouth, you're running your mission. Because in the end, no one can argue with fruit, no one can argue with finished work, and no one can deny a life that was built on quiet discipline and loud results. Results don't lie, complaints don't build. Choose wisely, because what you focus on multiplies. At some point, you have to make a decision, a real one, not the kind you talk about when you're motivated, but the kind you back with action when no one's watching. You have to decide that your future is too valuable to keep entertaining distractions, that your potential is too expensive to keep paying for it with excuses, that your calling is too great to stay stuck in comfort. Nobody's coming to rescue you. Nobody owes you understanding, applause, or support. And that's not something to resent, it's something to rejoice over, because that means your destiny is in your hands. And if it's in your hands, that means you have the power to build it, to grow it, to own it. Yes, it's hard, but it's supposed to be hard. That's the filter. That's how life separates the ones who are playing with it from the ones who are serious. You don't get the reward without the responsibility. You don't get the crown without the cross. You don't get the fruit without the faith, the focus, and the fight. So stop complaining, stop comparing, stop looking for shortcuts, pay the price, do the work, lock in. And remember this, victims wait, builders move, talkers hope, doers produce. Results don't come to those who want it, they come to those who refuse to stop until they get it. You don't need anyone to understand you, you just need to finish. You don't need the crowd, you need consistency. You don't need sympathy, you need strategy. And the moment you decide that your discipline will be louder than your doubt, your life will start to shift. This is your moment. Own it, work, focus, move in faith, and let your results be your response to everything they said you couldn't do. Because in the end, nobody cares until you give them something they can't ignore.